All right, Nate. This time, the Youngbloods are checking out Youngblood.
Yeah.
Listen close, girls. The world is a dark forest full of monsters. Monsters that'll tear your flesh from bone.
So this time, we played one of my favorite series here. This is Wolfenstein Youngblood. This is a new release, just came out, and this is where you're following the two Blazkowicz daughters. So if anybody's not familiar with that game series, you play as BJ Blazkowicz most of the time. You're fighting the Nazis in a alternate universe where they actually won the war. So they won the war, they came to America, and they defeated America too. So it gets really dark. That's the last game though. This is the new game. We're following the daughters of Blazkowicz, and they are in France this time, trying to help the French resistance and find their father. So that kind of sets the tone of the game. It's a little different, but the same kind of settings. And we jumped into it co-op because that's the name of this game. It's made to be co-op. So we had an interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah, so the game, it actually, in my opinion, it started off pretty strong. They had some pretty good cutscenes. And then like right off the hop with your, when the two twin sisters would get their first kill, it's actually hilarious.
That's a good scene.
But then, pretty much right after that, it kind of down spirals as far as like having a good story content.
And the quality of the narrative is just, it feels a little different than the normal series that I'm used to. So this game, I think, has taken kind of a hit because the story has gone kind of to the background. It's to play co-op, and it's a co-op experience. So I think they kind of thought that the story wasn't super important because it kind of just picks you up and drops you in this new area, kind of unrelated. You're just trying to find your dad.
It's very broken up.
It doesn't speak to you very well about what you're supposed to be doing. There's a couple characters in your hub world that you kind of talk to and you take missions off of. They're cool, but you don't really have to learn them very much.
No, they're honestly, they're not very memorable, and they didn't really bring back very many characters, if any, from the original games, which kind of sucks because we've been following this story for so long. It would have been nice to maybe have a couple cameos or just something to kind of make it more excitable.
And you're used to that crew that you hang out with in the second game, especially in the hub world. That's a normal thing that you're running around talking to these people, but it's supposed to be more than that. Some of them join you on missions and stuff. They would bring you through areas in certain parts of the old game. That's all been scrapped. You don't see them out in the world. You don't see anyone out and about. It's just, here's a mission, go collect these things. Go find some side mission kind of thing. So that's kind of where the thing took a hit because I'm used to the story dragging me through it where I want to play to get to the next level to kind of do the next kind of activity, but it became very samey.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you're forced to play through an area and clear out the same area, 5 times in a row because of the side quests are all in the same spot. It just becomes kind of tiresome and overexhausting.
Now, a side quest on the side in the area of the main quest would have been great. You just go to another location, get an extra objective or something like that. That would make sense. But a lot of the times, they're disconnected. They're not related to a mission exactly. They're just kind of a side thing that another character throws to you, and you don't really see too much follow-up on it either. You get these items sometimes from people, you bring them back, and it's just kind of, okay, here's the next one. And that kind of hurt me. It kind of took me out of the play. Because like you said, you're going through these areas time and time again, grinding off of enemies that are getting harder and harder, just to get back to the same building I already conquered and cleaned out. Why are we not stomping ground?
The level design, unfortunately, it had its moments where I was like, this is kind of cool. It kind of brought me to this Dishonored feel where I get to scale up really high and like explore and jump around, but then having to do it, like you're not going to re-jump around 5 times when I'm doing this another side mission.
Or it's really frustrating when you've gone through a checkpoint area, or you've gone through a whole area with no checkpoints rather. You clear out the shortcut, and then when you die, you spawn, and there's no progress at all. You just respawn right back at the start of the level. Like that hurt a lot too, especially because it's a co-op experience. We're gonna mess up, and it kind of works against you because if you're not the same level, which there's a level system, so we got to get into that. But if you're not the same level, the difficulties are all weird. It's supposed to only scale off of your difficulty and your level, but I don't find that to be the case at all, and I'm not sure what's going on with that. I found many enemies that we would get to, and they're just bullet sponges. We can't do anything to them.
It was so bad. Worse than Division 1 at times, where you're just pouring bullets into them. But then other enemies, you just can blow them into pieces in
Or you
one
level
shot.
up. Yeah, and that's satisfying when it does happen.
Yeah,
I do
of
like
course.
that.
And that's what Wolfenstein's always been like. You can just dual wield everything and just blow up everything.
The heavy guns. Here's a problem. You can't dual wield all the guns that I
Anything you
used
can.
to do.
So let's get into some of the other things now. Okay, so the guns. There's no new weapons in the game. They're all just weapons that we've seen before.
Yeah.
There's a dual wield perk in the RPG system, but you can only dual wield your pistols.
Yeah, pistols or machine pistols. Now the machine pistols do, when you spray them, that's kind of what I was hoping
But I
for.
want to dual
wanted
wield
that.
snipers, man. That's like the thing. You can dual wield
a
everything.
shotgun and an SMG. That's my mix. But no, I've souped up my SMG. I put all my points in my SMG because I was hoping I could dual wield that, and I was just gonna mow everyone down. And then you can't even dual wield those, so I kind of wasted my points and my money on that. So this RPG system, you get rewarded for kills and actions completed, quests, the normal stuff, but you get these silver coins that you're supposed to spend on your weapons. And it feels like they borrowed the same system from Rage, but it doesn't really seem to add anything to it. You're just getting these things just by killing people. It could have just easily been another system or a money system or something else, but it just seems like they disconnected it just to kind of make a depth that didn't really need to be there.
So like we said, there's an RPG system, but it kind of contradicts itself at times. I always like an RPG, and when they can throw in a shooter that really entices you, then I'm all for it. But like this just kind of basic and throwing in there. And this game's a co-op game, but then Scott had played before me, and he was level 20 and I was level 0. And to start off, it was rough for me. Like everything just took so much damage and so much time to kill when he was just whipping through it.
And it's supposed to scale off of your own level and difficulty. So it was really weird. And your own level is already a weird kind of concept to bring to a Wolfenstein game, because there's never been level systems before. There's never been an experience kind of grind. And it kind of feels like they put it in there to kind of put a grind in. And I know I'm just playing with a co-op friend, so we're supposed to be death machines, but I don't want to grind the same thing over and over again just for the sake of levels, just so that we're almost the same level so we can match better, and then the game kind of evens itself out. It's really weird, because why is there even a number difficulty system in there to begin with?
They should have just not had the RPG system. Even the different enemies, they have tier systems, so it's kind of a nice clear indicator on which one's going to be harder. But still, like if I'm going to fight a drone, a basic drone flying around, it shouldn't be able to one-shot me or anything. Like it's just a drone.
Just because of it's 5 numbers ahead of you or something. Yeah, why is it there and 5 numbers ahead of me? It just brings in I want to explore this game, and I want to be able to drop my co-op friend in and out. If I'm going to do that, I don't want to be hindered by an hour of grinding against an enemy with my co-op friend, and now we can play the game.
Or be forced to start an entire new campaign.
Or be forced to start a new campaign where I'm going to be grinding through the same enemies again and again. You're supposed to do that, kind of. So I want to do that on one character. I don't want to have to keep doing it.
But like, so one of the things that you got to take for this game, it is not a full price game. This is where I'm like, okay, if you look at it like an expansion, it's only a $40 game, $55 game if you get the deluxe edition, which I do recommend if you have a friend that you want to play with. But we'll get into the buddy pass system later, because it is pretty much a full game. It's not a full Wolfenstein game, but I mean there are lots of hours of shooting and bosses and areas to explore. So for $40, it is worth picking up, I think, with your friend, because Scott and I did have quite a bit of fun ripping through it.
Oh yeah.
But it's just so many, just a few things where you're just like, why did you make this decision? Who thought this was a good idea? In the story mode, when you're playing through the campaign, you can get to the very end and you're fighting the boss and you die. You have to start from the beginning of the mission. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Checkpoints have been in games since the beginning of when I was born.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's weird systems. I feel like they didn't exactly make this one for the fans.
But like they kind of did.
But they kind of did, because it's just a game kind of expansion with co-op. So it's if you play these ones and you want to play with your friend, you're going to buy it. But it's hard to see who they're going for, who the audience is. You kind of have to compare that against the other games that are full price AAA titles. Now this is kind of advertised that way, but then you find out that it's actually only $40. So that does gain it a little bit of breathing room for me.
So like we mentioned too, there's the Buddy Pass system, and this is one of the coolest things I've actually seen, and I'll give huge props to Bethesda for doing this.
Yeah, I want to see more companies bring this in because it's value. That's how you get people playing your game.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, if you get the deluxe edition, which is only $55, it gives you the option to share the game with anybody you want, as many times as you want. One at a time, mind you, of course.
Yeah, it is only a 2-player co-op game, so there's that. And you're required to have your friend play. They can't play without you. You're not just gifting the game. They have to download the trial version, but what happens is the trial version is just the full game, just locked. So then I can send you an invite if you're on the trial version and you just jump into mine. It doesn't give you achievements. You have to pay for those, I guess, but your progress tracks and your character.
So everything, like that right there, I was super jacked about. I ended up buying the game. We could have done the Buddy Pass system, but I'm a Wolfenstein fan, so had to support them. But the Buddy Pass system, I can't wait to see what Bethesda maybe does in the future with some more games. Because maybe Doom Eternal? Probably not, but...
It's a good idea, though. I'm happy with this one. I hope they stick to something like that.
Yeah, man. Alright, so if we're going to summarize this odd review, it's kind of been like an up and down.
It sounds like we like it and we don't like it at the same time.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm a big fan of the series from the start. I played all of them very thoroughly. This one is missing a lot of things for me, and it just kind of makes me angry in that regard. Now, I understand they want to open it up for new players, and I understand that too, but it's just... I wish that was advertised
Step in the
to
wrong
me.
direction.
And then these weird RPG elements. Assassin's Creed did it. I don't think it worked. I don't know if it's a good idea to just start throwing number systems into there. So for me personally, I'm going to have to give this one a 6.5, and that kind of hurts.
Man, I'm pretty much right on the same points. The RPG system's there, but it's just so mediocre and just feels like it wasn't supposed to be there.
And you're the looter shooter.
And I'm the looter shooter, yeah, absolutely. And, oh man, it's just too bad. The Buddy Pass system, though, huge props for that. And like I said before, I'm excited to see what happens, so I'm right there with you, man. 6.5.
Stewardesses.
Overall, this game has great core shooter mechanics, but the tacked on RPG elements seriously hurt the experience.